And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Because all the blessings that we're going to get, which is entailing the kingdom of heaven. Isaiah the 60th chapter, I'm going to start at the 10th verse and read on down. It says, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. So the sons of strangers, that's talking about the actual strangers, the other nations, shall build up thy walls. We're going to have them in slavery. So they're going to be building the kingdom of heaven, because we're not building nothing. We're not lifting a hand to move nothing. It says, for in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles. That's talking about the actual Gentiles. We're going to take all of their substance, and that their kings may be brought.
And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Verse 13, and the glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, the box together to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. So the land of Israel, the land of Jerusalem, is going to be made glorious. It's going to be made glorious once again. The kingdom is going to be built up. We had a taste of that during the time of Solomon's reign, which was for about 40 years. Verse 14, the sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet. And they shall call thee the city of the Lord. The word Zion means monument, the monument of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shall suck the breasts of kings, meaning we're going to take all their substance. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord thy power, the Lord and thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. For brass I will bring thee gold, and for iron I will bring thee silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. And I will make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. The sun shall no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee, but the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and the power thy glory. The sun shall no more go down, meaning our kingdom is not going to go down. In other words, once we get back in power, we're going to be in power forever. The sun is never going to go down on our kingdom again. The sun is never going to set on our kingdom. We're going to always shine, and we're going to always be in that glory once we get into the kingdom of heaven. There's no more going back into slavery under the other nations. Esau's not going to rise back up and put us in captivity. Ham, Japheth, Ishmael, none of the other nations are going to rise up and take us down ever again. When we get on top this time, we're going to remain on top. Neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. So no more mourning, no more crying, no more vexation of spirit, no more weeping, no more hopelessness because of the condition that we're in as Israelites right now. Verse 21, thy people also shall be all righteous, they shall inherit the land forever. The branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. Verse 22, a little one shall become 1,000. This is in the kingdom. So what is this talking about? We're going to have sex. Again, like I said, the 2/3 that are going to pass this destruction The 2/3 are going to come back through the 1/3 that make it. The Lord said, 2/3 shall be cut off and die, and the third will I bring through the fire. It says, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in the truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of there. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right, and what I want to go into, this morning, dealing with morning news and prophecy, no hope for Babylon, as we get into, the news and, all right, as we get into the happenings and prophecy, okay, well, what we know, first and foremost, according to the scriptures, that there's no hope for Babylon, okay? The Lord has it set up for Babylon to be obliterated out of the earth, okay? And this Edomite power structure, this beast system, okay, to be removed from power, okay? And Esau and these heathens, will go into captivity, okay? So it only goes downhill from here, Esau, Edom, his desperation, is attempting to throw up, this new world order. Well, this is, a last ditch effort, matter of fact, let's get that word, see what it says. We're gonna get that in Jeremiah. All right, last ditch effort meaning. Okay, so let's get this in Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 7. I started at 7. It said, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. Okay, showing you that the Most High, all right, has been in full control of everything we see, everything that we've seen and are seeing playing out. The Most High has been in control. The Most High raised Babylon up to be this great influence in the earth. Okay, he raised up Babylon, to be the standard of culture, the standard of government, the standard of economy. You see, even the standard of military. The reason why these nations had to get on the game militarily because of how advanced Babylon was, man. Okay, so the Most High raised America up to be this golden standard in the earth, because a golden standard is the top standard. So people began to mimic, America as their standard of how their nation should be. Okay, it said that made all the earth drunken. You see, but it was a the cup, was appealing to the eye, a golden cup. Because if you walked in a restaurant and you just had these golden cups, if you had a bunch of tables in the restaurant, okay, but on one table you had actual gold cups, man, that would draw you to that table, man. That would pique your attention. That would pique your interest. Okay, and that's what America has been on the outside. It piqued these nations' interest. Okay, but the substance of America, what it was built off of, what it was made of on the inside, okay, was wine, man. Okay, wine of filthiness and abomination, the wine of rebellion against the Most High, the wine of violence. Okay, so these nations have imitated Babylon. All right, they're in constant war. Okay, their nations are impoverished. Okay, because the wealth stays amongst these elites of these other nations. That's why I said the merchants shall wail at the destruction of Babylon. Okay, because the common people, don't enjoy, the wealth from their nations trading with the whore. Okay, participating in these global markets with the whore. Okay, it's the few elites that have sold out to the beast system that benefit from, okay, dealing with the whore. All right, but you look at the end results of all these nations dealing with the whore, man. It's complete chaos, man. It's complete disorder. You see, confusion. Okay, so now these nations are, getting over this hangover. They had their time when they was, because when you're drunk, when you're drinking, well, it goes from you, sipping, buzzing, feeling right, mellow, vibing. Okay, then it gets to the point you start wilding out a little more. Then you just get all the way open. Okay, and then you're just drunk out of your mind with no awareness, and you wake up with the hangover, man. Okay, so these nations, they have awakened with this hangover. They've enjoyed, okay, the elites of these nations enjoyed the perks that came with, drinking of that golden cup. Because also, a golden cup is a toast of a king. So Babylon being the dominant empire of the earth, these nations have toasted in agreement with this whore, man. Okay, but now as they're seeing the results, okay, and that this whore, all right, that Babylon doesn't keep his word. Now the nations are mad. Now they're looking at the results of their nations, and even if nations are more culturally assimilated than others, but even in that, the way that America is able to weaponize this dollar system, you see, that wasn't in the plan. You know, see, America didn't tell them that if you don't agree with me, we're gonna sanction your ass to poverty. Okay, like America just only talked about the perks. They didn't talk about the fact that they was gonna weaponize the dollar. You see, so now these nations are like, man, this ain't it. You know, and it's all in the Lord timing because it's time for judgment now. It said Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm for her, for if so she may be healed. Okay, so what we see now is the scriptures mocking the destruction of Babylon, the decline of America. By saying take balm for her, okay, that she may be healed, which there's no healing. Okay, Babylon is not meant to be healed. Okay, Babylon is meant to be destroyed. You see, and you have the elites intentionally weakening Babylon, for the sake of the new world order. Okay, but the Lord is going to take it all the way there and turn this place to a desert, man. Okay, and society as a whole, they want Babylon healed. Most of the people in America, they want Babylon to be healed. Okay, they want this place to go back, to to what they remember, what they thought it stand for. Okay, their golden age. Because everybody got their own little personal golden age, their best times of America. And people want that back. A lot of people want that back, man. But there's a remnant that has awakened, okay, to expectation beyond Babylon, beyond America, man. We rejoice at this place declining. Okay, but what you're seeing is people want to scratch and claw to try to heal Babylon. Ain't no healing for this place, man. It's done. Okay, the Most High has an appointed time. okay, for America, man, and we're reaching that time. And this is why the decline, is accelerating, because we're getting closer to the time of just complete annihilation of America, man. Okay. So when it says, yeah, we will have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go, everyone into his own country, for her judgment reaching unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies, man. So the wickedness of America has reached to the heavens, to the spiritual realm, to the throne of the Most High, and Yahweh Shai, man. And that's why the judgment is going to come from another realm, from Yahweh Bashim Shai. Even this third world war, where the Lord is orchestrating it, man. You see, the missiles, the Lord has orchestrated the judgment of the whore. All right, the missiles, and then the sending of Yahweh Shai, man. So is this the wickedness of this current age, led by America, has reached into the heavens? That judgment is going to come from the heavens, man. You see, and this is the time that we're in. Now, I want to go here. I looked it up real quick. The meaning of last ditch effort, because this is what we're seeing Esau attempt to do, is a last ditch effort to try to throw up this new world order. It says a last ditch effort is a desperate final attempt to achieve a goal or prevent failure when all options have failed. Okay, a last ditch effort is a desperate final, attempt to achieve a goal or prevent failure when all other options have failed, man. Okay, so what we're seeing this devil do with this new world order, this is a last ditch effort. Okay, this is the last attempt to try to pull this off, man. And see, this devil, he's gonna have to do, something major, to move the needle towards this new world order. Because that whole ICE thing, it didn't go like he thought. The whole Venezuela thing, it didn't go like he thought it was gonna go. Okay, well, he thought he was gonna do in Iran is not going like he thought it would go. Okay, so we're finna see more desperation from this devil, man. Okay, what he did with Ukraine, they thought Ukraine would, be able to inflict, major damage on Russia. They didn't expect Ukraine to win, but they expected more civil unrest in Russia. They expected more, damage to be done, but it's not working because Russia plays a part in prophecy, man. Okay, and we know the elites are in the background on both sides. Okay, making moves, but ultimately the Lord is making moves, man. Okay, and it's pushing Esau more and more into desperation. Okay, it says it signifies a very last chance, often undertaken with little hope of success. This idiom refers to a final stand of defense, originating from the 17th century military, context. Okay, so this is Esau's last ditch effort, is this new world order, the attempt to throw it up and try to have it, somewhat established before Yahweh returns, man. Okay, so this man is going into this thing with desperation. Every day that goes by, this man is getting more and more desperate. Okay, every day that passes, all right, this man is getting more and more desperate, man. Okay, let's read this. This from the brother. I'm gonna segue to a couple videos. Let's get this one first. All right, you got, geopolitical analysts, war analysts, historians, okay, and everyone's coming to the same conclusion, which is the conclusion of the scriptures, is that this place is in decline. So let's go here. Let's read this from the brother real quick. Glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, said Revelation 18:5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities, man. Okay, so the sins of America, okay, which are also the sins of Esau, because America is a tool for the elites. Amalek, man. Okay, So the sins of Esau, Edom through America, man, have reached unto the heavens. And the Most High is remembering now. The Most High is beginning to orchestrate this judgment, man. Okay? America is being positioned for judgment. Okay? That's why the moves, all the moves that's being made is working against her, man. Everything is backfiring, man. Like as we study these things and we look into these things and we see how America moving, America, these things are backfiring, man. This shit is backfiring for America, man, on every level. You know, and the devil, he's in straits trying to pull this off, man. And this is why eventually this nigga just gonna lose it, man. Okay, and really doing some major events, man. Okay, so let's play this real quick. And this was from like 3 weeks ago, but you know, just to hear, because I'm gonna play this probably about a minute, some change of it, you know, a few minutes over the most, but just to hear, you know, these people be so convicted, like it's over. America's in decline, man. Okay, so let's play this real quick.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. As President Trump threatens Iran, Venezuela, Mexico, Greenland, and more, we spend the rest of the hour with the renowned historian Alfred McCoy. His new book, Cold War and Five Continents, A Global History of Empire and Espionage, and his recent article, Ending the American Dream by 2029. McCoy is a history professor at University of Wisconsin-Madison. We welcome you back to Democracy Now! In your book, you describe the 1953 coup in Iran as an act whose consequences were measured across decades, leading directly to the 1979 revolution. What are your thoughts on witnessing this escalating Trump threats against Iran, saying the U.S. may possibly intervene militarily there? Professor McCoy.
Thank you, Amy. The United States is an empire in decline. And if you look back over the past 100 years, the lessons of history are pretty clear. Declining empires suffer from two things. One, they suffer from what's called micro-militarism abroad. They send troops abroad. In their flailing decline, thinking that some form of military intervention will recapture the global power that is slipping away from their hands. And then domestically, the other thing they suffer from, every single declining empire over the past 100 years, the Soviet Empire, British Empire, the Spanish, all the rest, they suffer from coups. And of course, we had our coup on January 6, 2001. So as American politics become increasingly contorted and irrational, I think the thing to do is to realize that we are an empire in decline, and we are writhing in this kind of irrationality, particularly in the international realm, and it will continue for another decade or two until the power, American power, finally slips away.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be a decade or two. You know, it ain't gonna be a decade or two. You see, the Lord is wrapping this thing up, and see, the Lord is going to cause this third world war to eventually, you know, jump off. He's going to cause the devil, you know, to implement his MOTB, you know, because a major part of this devil's enterprise, okay, is getting everyone C-hipped, okay, and linked to the digital system, okay. So he's in the rush to throw that up, okay, and he's in the rush, okay, to cause this war, okay, because within this war, you know, the devil, you know, in his mind, he's going to reset the earth, you know, because Esau uses wars for reset. Okay, World War I, World War II, those were tools to reset the earth, you know, to make major changes to the economy, okay, to bring down monarchs, okay, to destroy, you know, certain you know, systems, old systems, okay. World War II, you know, it catapulted America into superpower status, economically and militarily. Okay, so these devils, you know, they have their agenda to reset the world according to their new order that they have in mind. All right, and it's not going to be in decades, man. Okay, we're down to the final stretch. No one knows when, except the Heavenly Father Himself. Okay, but we know for sure. All right, it's not going to be decades, but just as He said, it's an empire in decline. Okay, there's no doubt about it that America is a declining empire, man. All right, the fact that Iran is dictating terms to America when it comes to negotiation shows you how far they've declined. Now it's not confirmed, whether they made the U.S. general, lead the negotiations. It's not confirmed. It was speculations. I haven't heard any, confirmations on that, dealing with their negotiations, on the 6th. Okay. But we do know they made them, all right, switch locations and, all right, the format of the negotiations from direct to indirect. Okay. And from multilateral to bilateral, just between America and Iran. Okay, so the fact that they was able to dictate terms to America and America allowed that, knowing that it will be public, all right, knowledge. All right, this is an empire on decline. And then you have also a speculation that Trump, has been begging, to for Iran to allow America to strike one, Iranian location, and then Iran will get to strike one American location, just so Trump can play tough. And it's just speculation of some things I was listening to this morning. We don't know how true that is, but people on the from the Iranian side are saying that Trump, was asking for, a political, exchange between America and Iran. And if that's true, man, just more evidence that this place is declining, man. Okay, so let's play this a little more.
And Professor McCoy, in terms of this declining empire, the Trump administration, President Trump has said he wants to increase military spending by 50%, from 1 trillion to 1.5 trillion. How does this fit into the flailing of a declining empire, as you mentioned, and also this attempt to reassert control over the Western Hemisphere, to create essentially a fortress of the Western Hemisphere against the rest of the world? The likelihood of that succeeding?
Good question, Warren. First of all, the United States has been for over a century now dominant in the Western Hemisphere, at least North America. And even with reduced global influence, the United States does have a capacity to exercise military force in the hemisphere. Whether that will produce good relations with our Latin American neighbors is highly questionable. But to turn to your question about this retreat from the world into the Western Hemisphere, that's effectively a near disastrous decision. Right now, we are in a new Cold War, a Cold War between Moscow, Beijing, and Washington. And the object of the new Cold War, just as it was for the old Cold War, is dominance, control over the vast Eurasian landmass. The way the United States won the Cold War, and we did win it hands down, was that we encircled the vast Eurasian continent with an iron curtain, and we defended that iron curtain by rings of steel, naval armadas, aircraft, and above all, military alliances, the NATO alliances on the western end of Eurasia, and 5 bilateral military alliances with Japan, South Korea, Taiwan.
Yeah, so he's just going to speak into, some Cold War history. But, what we're seeing, with America having to retreat, and that's why you starting to hear countries like, they're saying they're going to Greenland and Cuba and, these Central and South American countries that because they're having to retreat back to the Western Hemisphere because that influence, all right, in Eurasia is declining. Because the Lord has allowed, the power alliance of Iran, Russia, and China. So America is not allowed to throw its weight around, all right, what they call the Middle East, okay, or Western Asia, like it once has. Okay. So I got another video I want to get into. It shows you America was established on wickedness, man. Its foundation is wicked. Okay. And that's why this place was always, even from the beginning, America was built to be destroyed. Okay, this beast system, it was all built to be destroyed. That was the purpose. Okay, America had a purpose to serve in prophecy. It was our punishment. It was a place for our punishment. Okay, but it was always built to be destroyed. Okay, from its beginning, from its inception, man. Okay, so let's play this. So because as the elect has awakened, the Lord is getting ready to end our captivity. Okay, so the Lord's finna end our captivity. Well, the place of our captivity serves no purpose, man. America, man. Okay, because the Lord chastened us, for us to repent, for the hopeful elect to repent, man, and come back to Him. So as that's happening, it's gonna reach a point to where, okay, my sons and daughters get it. All right, now it's time for judgment. It's time for deliverance for them and judgment for America, man. So this place was founded from its inception to be destroyed. All right, and let's get this precept here from the brother loyalty. How about Shemal Shah, Isaiah 47:1? Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Okay. So there's no throne. There's no more status left for America, man. There's no more rank and authority left for America, man. Okay. Throne, and America doesn't have the ability to have all this say so within these other nations like they once did. Okay. Yeah, in the Western Hemisphere against these, all right, little puny nations over here in the Western Hemisphere, but globally, all right, America's, all right, status and rank and authority is declining. Okay, and it's going to be Yahweh Shai that's going to come fully remove all authority from all these heathens, man. That's why on the heads of Yahweh Shai were many crowns. Okay, because he's coming to take all the authority, all the thrones from the heathen, man, beginning with this beast system, which is the top government in the earth, man. Okay, so we're finna see America go through a major demotion. Okay. We're finna see these Edomites on the global scale go from the ruling nation, all right, to the least slaves in our kingdom, man. Okay, it's finna be a major demotion amongst you Edomites. It's finna be a demotion of America, okay, on a global scale. You see? America is losing their status, man. You see that long superpower status, America is losing it, man. And you Edomites, you're finna lose your privilege, status. Okay, that Edomite privilege that you enjoyed for so long, and you're going into captivity. Those that survive the judgment, man. Well, let's go here because it's a quick lesson from the brother, the Hopeful Elect 3, the brother Yaqua. Quick video, about 2 minutes and some change. But it just goes into how America, all right, was built on wickedness, man. So it was built to fall. Okay, so let's play this.
America is like a house with a crumbling foundation, where the foundation was never built correctly. Whatever house was built on it was always going to have problems because America was built on the foundation of slavery and genocide and the myth of white supremacy. The entire house was built on a foundation centered around racism and sexism. Every law and law enforcement agency, every city plan, every policy was built on that foundation. The education system, the welfare system, the transportation system, the communication systems, they're all built on that same terrible foundation. And a lot of us grew up believing that we lived in the greatest, strongest, most beautiful house ever built. But then at some point we start to see some cracks in the walls. The walls start leaning in on us a little bit. We're like, hey, something doesn't seem quite right here. We might need to replace some of these walls. So we try to fix it. We fix the leak in the roof by making redlining illegal. We patch up a hole in the wall by allowing women to vote now. But if you have an inspector over, they're going to be like, whoa, I see that you fixed the wall, but you got to do something about that foundation. If you don't replace the foundation, eventually this house is going to fall. But replacing the foundation on a home is near impossible. So instead we hide it. We'll build a fake wall in front of it. Make it so you just can't see it anymore. We're going to make those sections of our history textbook smaller and a little less informative. We're going to go ahead and ban the criticism of the myth of white supremacy from our schools. While we're at it, let's ban books that criticize the house. From now on, we're going to say that home inspectors are unpatriotic traitors. If you're going to be critical of this house, then clearly you're not a patriot like me and you need to get out. You're not even a part of this family anymore. But it doesn't matter how much you try to hide a crumbling foundation. In the back of your mind, you know it's still there. Ultimately, a large percentage of Americans believe that white men are mentally and morally superior to everyone else. That belief is the cornerstone of America that will always stop this country from being great. No document or law or political party or agency is ever going to make America a great country as long as we still hold in our hearts beliefs that support the myth of the supremacy of white men. We need to tear down and rebuild our entire belief systems.
And that's why this truth is so vital, for the hopeful elect, because it rebuilds our belief systems. It rebuilds our belief systems, man. Because trying to fix, no matter how good your intentions are, how fair and honest of a person you are, okay, if we never come into a new belief system, all right, then we don't see past the madness, and we see that this place is not meant to be fixed. And see, that's the beautiful thing as well. Let's go here. First, let's go here and deal with that, all right, the belief systems, okay? That's why this truth is meant to what? Tear down, okay, the lies and deceptions, okay? Because like he was speaking on, that scientific racism where the Edomite male is just superior to everyone and everyone else is inferior to the Edomite male, okay? That's why the world should trust his science and his technology, because he's superior. Okay, that's why he should be the leader. That's why he should make the decisions. That's why he can do no wrong. And even the wrong he did, it was for the betterment of everyone. He had to do it. It just had to be done. Okay, so he can create a better world for everyone. You see? So that narrative of Edomite, male superiority, okay, which is nothing but scientific racism, pseudoscience. All right, there's a belief that the truth tears down, man. This is 2 Corinthians 10:4 says, we use the Most High's mighty weapons, not worldly weapons, to knock down the strongholds of human reasoning and to destroy false arguments, man. Okay, so we use the mighty weapons, which is this word, not worldly weapons, to knock down the strongholds of human reasoning and to destroy false arguments. Okay, so this word, is a spiritual weapon, that has begun to change the belief system of the elect, all right, or the hopeful elect, man. All right, and even those that are not Israelites, man, even there's just a common population, they're starting to see the lies, man. Okay, this truth has changed the game. All right, the truth of the Bible has changed the game. To even non-believers and those outside of the truth, they began to see the flaw in this society, man. Okay, because this truth is destroying the false arguments of Esau, Edom. The pillars of Esau's kingdom is deception, man. Okay, he needs the masses to be deceived for his kingdom to work. Okay, so part of the foundation of Esau's kingdom is deception. Okay, so as we as believers, began to awaken to this truth. All right, let's go here to 2 Corinthians 5:17. As we awaken to the truth, man. All right, and we see through new lenses. In 2 Corinthians 5:17. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if any man be in Yahushua, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. In order for us to really embrace the understanding of the Bible, we have to become a new creature. We have to look at everything through a different lens, a different perspective, according to truth. And understand that this place was built to be destroyed. There's no hope for this place, man. Okay, this place is a complete rebellion to Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right, so this place was built just to be destroyed from its foundation, man. And that's why when we look back, that's one thing, becoming a new creature. And as we relearning everything, and we go back into the history, like, man, this place has been wicked, man. Because you get hip to the current wickedness, and you go back and see his previous wickedness, and then you look into what this nigga trying to do. Is like, man, this nigga ain't don't nothing make sense but destruction. That's why the judgment of the Bible is the only thing that makes sense in these times, man. Okay. So the Lord just going to destroy this place. Okay. Going to melt America. Okay. And completely destroy this this current rulership, man. This beast system. You see? So when you go to let's go here. Because everything that Esau has built is in vanity, man. Because it's built in wickedness, man. Okay, so let's go here to the book of Psalms 127:1. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that built it. Okay, so this is vanity, man. You see, everything this man has built, not only his infrastructure, but democracy, okay, his financial system. Now he's trying to go to a digital currency and all this for nothing, man. Okay, the Olympics, the Super Bowl, all this for nothing. The culture, he built these things in vain because it's not of the Lord. It's not of Yahweh Bashim Shai. It has no foundation in righteousness, man. Okay, and that's why we're getting ready to see this place come down. You see, Esau put all this labor, time, resources. They're gonna stole, rob, enslaved whole continents and exported slaves here from there, and enchanted the masses, social engineer. All he did was in vain. Okay, because it's going to be judged, man. You see? So it says, except the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain, man. Okay? And this is why we're seeing, because Esau's watchman on the left-hand side, he has priests and warlocks and witches. You see? He has these things on the left-hand side. Okay? But whatever advice they giving this niggas in vain. Because this niggas getting advice on prosperity. Okay, we just do this next, and no, man, it's in vain. Okay? Left hand counsel, all of it is in vain, man, because the right hand is finna triumph. Okay? So everything that this devil, got going on is complete vanity, man. Because it was never founded in righteousness, man. Okay, all this land of the free, home of the brave, liberty and justice and equality for all these different little sayings. This place was completely founded in wickedness, man. Okay, the banking system was founded in wickedness. Okay, even the capital of DC, their whole infrastructure, nothing but a satanic, all right, Freemasonry infrastructure, man. Okay, the founding fathers, man, these men were in these secret societies, and okay, so America was founded was founded with a foundation of corruption, man. That's why you go here to Isaiah. All right, 57 means 47. Isaiah 47. Let's see. Yep. This is Isaiah 47 and 11. It said, therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth. Okay, so there's things that's going to happen because these devils, they're used to planning everything and executing on it. Okay, so these devils are used to their plans being executed in the earth and their plans only. Okay, but we come into the time where the Lord's going to intervene in a major way, and even the plans that these devils been doing, it was always the Lord that was orchestrating, man. Okay, but what's going to happen now? There's going to be things that this devil, all right, then he didn't plan for. You see, there's going to be things happening, all right, that this devil didn't factor in. You see, because he prides himself on playing all sides, and controlling, outcomes. You see, but now we're coming to the time where the Lord is going to bring outcomes that's not going to be in the devil's favor, man. Evil, bad times. Okay, he says, a mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Okay, so there's going to be things happening that this devil, he's not going to be able to explain away. All right, he's not going to be able to make sense of it, man. Okay, and that's the Lord having this nigga number. You see, and it says, stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail. Okay, so he labored with these things from his youth. It was founded on witchcraft and rebellion. Those enlightenment. Okay, because the age of enlightenment, there was really, these Edomite philosophers rebelling against the Most High. All right, because you go, when did it start? So the age of enlightenment. Okay, the age of enlightenment started in was it 1685, and that's when these devils, these so-called great Edomite thinkers, emerged on the scene. Let's look at it real quick. These great Edomite thinkers emerged on the scene. Okay, and really started to infiltrate governments and education and the medical field, and push rebellion, man. All right, it says the central premises of the Enlightenment, okay, or age of reason, was the radical idea that reason, logic, and scientific inquiry, not tradition. When they say tradition, they're speaking of the Bible. Tradition or superstition, they're talking about the Bible. So this devil's enlightenment, which goes back to 1685, okay, is when these certain philosophers scientists and doctors, and they began to infiltrate politics and government and banking, and okay, with this Enlightenment ideology, man, which is rebellion. Okay, it says should be the primary source for authority and legitimacy to understand the universe and improve the human condition. All right, and has it improved the human condition? Because now this ideology is at the forefront, okay, of society, man. And you go into the New World Order, okay, it's based off all these radical ideas from these elites from the Enlightenment age, man. You had a few before, that you can go into, okay, but during this Enlightenment age, these devils really went hard body in their rebellion, you know. So this was in 1685, and America was founded, like 91 years later. Okay, so this thing has some momentum by the founding of America, man. And a lot of these thinkers, they looked at America as a blank canvas. That's why they call it what? The New World. They had a New World Order in mind going back to the beginning of America, man. They had this great rebellion in mind going back from the beginning. All right, it said leading to ideas like liberty, progress, tolerance, and individual rights. It says thinkers believe applying rational thought could unlock natural laws governing humanity, leading to greater knowledge, freedom, and happiness, fundamentally challenging established power structures in religion and government. Okay, so this was their rebellion. They was pushing like, look, we're going to transcend tradition. Okay, the restraints of the Bible, and you know. So this Enlightenment age, okay, was the age of rebellion. You can call it the age of rebellion. You see, so let's go from there. Let's go here to Habakkuk. I want to get this in the AMP. In this book of Habakkuk, chapter 2. Oh, let me switch it to the AMP. All right, it's the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, and starting at verse 9. All right, it says, woe, judgment is coming to him who obtains wicked gain for his house and thinks by doing so to set his nest on high. All right, and this devil has nothing but wicked gains, okay, within his kingdom. All right, the devil, has enriched himself through wickedness, man, through violence, okay, through robbery, all right, through deception, with these fraudulent, economic, system, okay. It says to set his nest on high that he may be rescued from the hand of evil. And this devil thinks, that he's got these space stations and bunkers and under mountain, cities and underground cities. Okay, as if he's just gonna ride off into the sunset. And this is the cowardness of this devil. He creates all this wickedness in the earth. But then he has a place for him to retreat for any recoil. And he thinks that he's going to be good. He's going to be protected. You see, but it says woe, which is judgment. All right. And you devils, the only thing that you're going to do in those bunkers and those retreats, space station, wherever place you think that you're going to be secure. Okay. You're just reserving yourself for captivity, man. All right. Verse 10, it says, you have devised a shameful thing for your house by cutting off and putting an end to many peoples. Okay, so this devil, has a track record, okay, of slaughter, man. Like this man has killed, millions and billions of people throughout his reign of terror, man. On his quest to take, rob, okay, get more power. You see, this man has done some shameful things, all right, with that sword, man. And they're doing it as we speak, you know. But I don't think he's doing is heaping judgment to himself, man, because that blood got to be repaid, man. Especially, all right, the main account is the bloodshed of the tribes, man. How bloodthirsty the devil has been with the tribes. Okay, verse 11 said, "For the stone will cry out from the wall to accuse you, built in sin." So this infrastructure, which is built on pure wickedness, man. Everything this man has built is built off great robbery and murder, man. Okay, lying and deception, man. Okay, all these cities, the EU nations, and all these cities where these devils, okay, have built, okay, within this kingdom, these infrastructure, these governments, but the main places here in America, man, okay, which is built off pure sin. And then sin is a culture, is a profitable culture to this nigga, man. So this devil creates revenue through wickedness, man. And all this is a witness against him, man. Okay? So from the first nail, okay, hammered, all right, in the building of this wicked empire is a witness against this devil, man. Okay, from the beginning of his rulership. Whoa, judgment is coming to him who builds a city with bloodshed and establishes a town by violence, man. Okay, and this devil, he's trying to he's been establishing global order through violence, through constant wars. Okay, this man has war with the earth, man. Okay, with his global reach, all right, and his technology, well, he used that to go to war with the earth, man. Okay, everything that this man has been established with bloodshed, man. And that's why Isaac said, that he will live by that sword. Okay, verse 13 says, "Is it not indeed from the Lord of hosts that people labor only for the fire that will destroy their work?" And this is why we don't get, entangled trying to chase the bag and, giving ourselves over to this system, because this system, everything that's being labeled for is just being labeled for the fire to destroy. So Jake, running themselves raggedy, trying to be these super duper entrepreneurs. Well, there's nothing with being an entrepreneur. Okay. But when you in a position to where you're giving your all to this system and your hope and expectation is in this system, man. Okay, you're just laboring for the fire. And that's why we're not attached to anything, man. Okay. We know that everything that we step foot on, that we physically see and can touch, okay, is gonna be destroyed, man, with fire. So we don't, go crazy, all right, and be off balance when it comes to material things, or giving so much of ourselves to this system, okay, because you're just laboring for the fire, because the only thing that's going to stand is the work we do in Yahweh by Shem Shai. Everything else going to be destroyed. You see? Everything else going to be destroyed, man. We do what we got to do to handle our obligations, man. But we have to understand, okay, that these people running themselves raggedly trying to achieve something, accomplish something in this world, they're just laboring for the fire to destroy it all. It says, "And nations grow weary for nothing, that is, things have no lasting value. Okay, this is a temporal situation. Okay, and people try to put, you know, long term, a long term perspective on the temporal situation. Man, they're going to be disappointed. You see, it said, but the time is coming when the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, as the waters cover the sea, and that's the Lord raising up the prophets, man. Okay, to begin to preach the knowledge of the Lord in the earth, man. As this place is declining, the knowledge of the Lord, you know, is becoming more common in the earth. You see, and it's going to continue and even transition into the kingdom to where the wisdom of the Lord going to be the standard of the earth. Okay, the law, statutes, and commandments, the glory. You're not going to have to. It's not going to be debatable. It's not going to be an ongoing debate of the creation story in the kingdom. It's going to be known that no, our power created everything. You know, through His Son, Elohim. Okay, our power is the one who allows nations to rule, push nations up and set them down. That glory gonna be known. There's gonna be common knowledge in the kingdom, man. Okay, and it's becoming common knowledge amongst the remnant. You see, and certain talking points dealing with prophecy, well, that's becoming common talk amongst all these platforms, man. Okay, and that's the beginning of the Lord filling the earth with His glory and His knowledge, man. You see, because more and more people are coming to the conclusion that it just all has to be burnt down. Ain't no fixing it. Okay, it has to be burnt down, man. This is the second video I've seen, you know, the last couple of days where common people are coming to the conclusion that this place just has to be burnt down, man. Okay, that's the only solution. Okay, so let's finish this in Habakkuk. All right, it says Habakkuk 2 and 15 says, "Woe, judgment is coming." All right, I'll leave it there. You know, well, I'll go ahead and finish it. Yeah. Habakkuk 2 and 15 said, "Woe, judgment is coming to you, who make your neighbors drink, who mix in your venom to make them drunk." And that's another thing. You know, now Jacob is going to be judged, okay, for their wickedness. Okay, well, we can't negate, all right, the puppet master behind, all right, niggas and the nigga woman, okay, who social engineered, okay, a particular behavior which created a culture amongst our people, man. You know, and then even beyond the tribes, man, the way the devil has social engineered the earth to be rebellious against the Most High. People are drunken. Now he gave Jake, you know, all type of liquors in his drink. Okay, all type of madness in his drink. Okay, he give the earth, you know, this this house drink, you know, but you know he spicy it up for Jake. Or Jake be drunk off of, man. Okay, then he's able to turn on the camera and say, "Look at these niggas." Okay, niggas will be punished because at this point it's been put out because Jake got no cloak for their sins because Esau has been exposed from the music, you know, to the media, to the agendas, and you know the enchantments, the MK Ultra, like everything. This nigga been ousted about everything, man. You know, so to still participate in that, all right, as you tribe, that's on you. Okay. When there was a remnant, you know, whom the Lord will call out of it because we was all drunken. You see? But then there's 2/3 who the Lord's going to leave in it. Because the Lord wants them, all right, to be drunken and stumble and stagger into the judgment with Esau, man. Okay? But you devils are not off the hook. Just because you can turn the camera on, and point at niggas and the nigga woman, that doesn't mean that you're off the hook, man. You're the main culprit in, okay, in the offense, man. You see, verse 16 says, you will be filled with disgrace instead of honor. Now drink and expose your own nakedness. The cup of wrath in the Lord's right hand will come around to you, O destroyer, and utter disgrace will be on your own glory, man. And this is why the Lord has it to where this devil, he has to expose himself. You know, to try to keep people distracted, this man has to allow some of his own personal dirt to be exposed to keep people distracted and keep people talking, man. You know, and there's just the Lord pushing forth shameful spewing on this nigga, man. Okay? You know, the Epstein and all these different, well, the Lord is causing it to happen because this nigga has to do that to create distraction. You know? So the Lord is allowing this man to just become more and more naked, man. You know, before the judgment comes. All right? He's looking, people are looking at these Edomites in a very shameful spewing, man, in a very shameful way, the way of disgrace, man, a disgust. You know, the Lord has the earth looking at these niggas in disgust, man. Okay, right before the judgment. All right, of the Lord's right hand, which is Yahweh Shai. Okay, so let's see. Let's go here. I think the brother had a few. So let's go here. It's the brother. Glory to Yahweh. Yep, this the brother. Glory to Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, Malachi 1:4, where Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus said the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them, okay, the border of wickedness, the people against whom the Lord has indignation forever. Okay, so before these devils even began to rebuild, the Lord promised he was going to throw them down. You know, because that's when those devils would go out. All right, it will fall from power. The Western Roman Empire will fall, and then you will have we call it Dark Ages. Then then Esau came back into power during the Renaissance. So the Lord already established that look, they're gonna come and build again, but I'm gonna throw down. Okay, so this place was built to be thrown down. You see? Because before these devils even rebuilt, the Lord had made a decree. Yeah, they shall build, but I'm gonna throw down. And we in the time of the Lord throwing this place down. You see, this the brother, the prince of the power. Jeremiah 25:31. A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth. Okay. For the Lord have a controversy with the nations, he will plead with all flesh. Okay. And this is the nukes coming to America, man. And making an impact. Okay, which is gonna rock the earth, man. You see, so the Lord will plead with all flesh. Okay. He will give them that are wicked to the sword, said the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, and that's those nukes, man. Okay, that's why over here in the land of America, okay, what we're seeing, all right, we have to understand America is nothing but a big altar. All right, that's why America is full of the most proud, lewd, rebellious people in the earth, man, right here in America, because America's gonna get the worst of the judgment, okay, from on high. Okay. In this third world's war and the return of Yahweh Shai, America gonna get it the worst. Okay, so we'll end it here. This the brother GMS Endure. All right, GMS must endure 144K by. And it says, Psalm 78 and 18, surely thou didst set them in slippery places, thou castest them down into destruction. Okay, so this devil, he set in slippery places. The Lord set this man up for failure from the beginning. Remember, before he the Lord said he will build again. So before he even built again, the Lord promised to throw it down. Okay, and the Lord made this nigga proud. Okay, this nigga mass produce nuclear weapons all throughout the earth. Okay, he made this nigga be Esau, the biggest arms salesman. The reason why nation have all this, military equipment, well, he's the source of it. Okay, a fighter jet. Well, the Lord allowed this nigga to create the fighter jet so he can fulfill the war in heaven. Okay, so you look at, even him being able to tap into micro technology, and that's for him to create this rebellious system, this new world order system, man. Okay, so the Lord gave this nigga everything he needed to fail, to be in a slippery place, man. Okay, and we're just watching it play out, and Lord will, we endure and we're delivered, man. Okay, so yeah, that's the point. I'll leave it there for this morning. Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters, are edified once again, and give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Makakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutation to the hopeful. Shalom.